بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. God bless you for your first week of fasting. God enable you to enter the second week with great strength, great determination. I hope you found the rhythm of this month and you can keep that rhythm for the rest of the month bi'idhnillahi ta'ala and increase it and make it better all the time. The word fasting in Arabic is an ancient word that goes back thousands of years, and it's shared by other Semitic languages, other prophetic languages. And in the Semitic languages, the meanings of the words come in this mysterious way out of the indications of the letters themselves. So the word sawm, fasting, we see that originally it meant to stop doing something or to stop something from happening. So it also meant, for example, for water to become still after flowing, or for wind to stop blowing. And it's also used for the sun reaching the zenith in the sky. The Arabs would say, Sam al-Nahar, which means that, not that the day fasted, but that the sun reached the zenith of the day. And when it's at the very top, at the highest point of the sky, it seems not to move anymore. And it's like it's stuck there for hours until it begins to decline towards the west. Part of the wisdom then of naming fasting after this particular word in Arabic and the other Semitic languages is that it indicates that fasting is elevated. It is lifted high above all other forms of worship. It has a very special, very unique status. It is not matched by anything else. It has no peer. It has no analog. Everything has a door, as we mentioned before. The door of worship is fasting. And again, as you fast, you use this worship to get your heart back where it should be, to renew your presence in prayer. Work at that at night and at day as well. Renew your covenant with the Quran and find the beauty of that book, which when our hearts are covered with rust, we don't find. Part of the indication of the fact that fasting is so elevated is in the words of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, in which he tells us repeatedly that God says, "As-siyamu li wa ana ajzi bih." This is in Bukhari and Muslim and in the other authoritative transmissions of hadith. That fasting, God says, is mine. I own it. And I will be the one to reward for it. Meaning that you cannot imagine, you cannot begin to calculate as a finite being what the infinite reward of this fast that belongs to God will be. Imam Malik transmits in the Muwatta, one of the most authentic of all the books of hadith, and this hadith is repeated in other great collections, that the Messenger of God said, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ لَخُلُوفُ فَمِ الصَّائِمِ أَطْيَبُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ مِنْ رِيحِ الْمِسْكِ. By him in whose hand is my soul, truly the altered breath of the mouth of the fasting person is more fragrant and pure in God's presence than the fragrance of musk. إِنَّمَا يَذَرُ شَهْوَتَهُ وَطَعَامَهُ مِنْ أَجْلِي. God continues to say, He only gave up His appetite, His appetites, and His food for my sake. فَالصِّيَامُ لِي وَأَنَا أَجْزِي بِهِ. Therefore the fast is mine. I own it. I take possession of it, and I will be the one who rewards for it. كُلُّ حَسَنَةٍ بِعَشْرِ أَمْثَالِهَا إِلَى 700 ضِعْفٍ إِلَّا الصِّيَامِ. Every good deed will be rewarded by the likes of 10 similar to it, until 700 times as many, except for the fast. It is mine, and I will be the one to reward for it. No other act of worship has this special nisbah. No other act of worship has this special relationship, this direct connection to God that fasting has. It is the great key to His mercy and to His pleasure, and it, more than anything else, renews us and gives life to our hearts again. Therefore, there are no standards, there are no rules, there are no laws that we can set down by which we can measure the reward or imagine the reward that will come to us from a single day of fasting. Keep that in mind always. Imam al-Bukhari and Muslim transmit also in a very authentic transmission, قال الله كل عمل ابن آدم له إلا الصيام فإنه لي وأنا أجزي به. The Prophet said that God says that every act that the son of Adam does is his, except for the fast. It is mine, and I will be the one to reward it. Again, this is emphasized repeatedly. وَالصِّيَامُ جُنَّةٌ. The fast is a shield. The fast protects you from all types of evil. It protects you from all types of misguidance and harm and tribulations. It is a shield that enables you to do the battle of life and to keep alive in the marathon of faith. وَإِذَا كَانَ يَوْمُ صَوْمِ أَحَدِكُمْ فَلَا يَرْفُثْ وَلَا يَصْخَبْ. So whenever the day comes when one of you fasts, let him do or say nothing obscene, and let him not raise his voice or shout. This is a time of dignity. This is a time of integrity. This is a workshop where we work on our hearts and our tongues and our humanity. فَإِنْ سَابَّهُ أَحَدٌ أَوْ قَاتَلَهُ فَلْيَقُلْ إِنِّي امْرُؤٌ صَائِمٌ. So if anyone insults him or fights with him, let him say, I am a person fasting. I won't take part in this. وَالَّذِي نَفْسُ مُحَمَّدٍ بِيَدِهِ لَخُلُوفُ الصَّائِمِ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَطْيَبُ مِنْ رِيحِ الْمِسْكِ. The Prophet said, by him in whose hand is the soul of Muhammad, truly the altered breath of the faster is more fragrant and pure in God's presence. And Imam Muslim transmits here, it is more fragrant and pure in God's presence on the day of resurrection than the fragrance of musk. لِلصَّائِمِ فَرْحَتَانِ يَفْرَحُهُمَا إِذَا أَفْطَرَ فَرِحْ وَإِذَا لَقِيَ رَبَّهُ فَرِحَ بِصَوْمِهِ. So the faster has two joys in which he or she takes delight. When he breaks his fast, he delights in joy. How delicious the water tastes, how sweet the dates, how wonderful the food that has been prepared, how wonderful the companionship of the believers who are breaking fast with us. This has no match to anything. And then the second delight is when he meets his Lord, he will take delight in his fast. So here there is an allusion, there is an indication that the faster has been promised paradise. That you, in the act of fasting, have done an act so elevated, so lofty, so high, that God has promised you paradise. You will meet Him. You will see Him in paradise after the day of judgment, and you will take great joy in that, eternal delight. And you will also on that day take delight in this beautiful fast that you have done. It will meet with you again. Thus, God has given us a unique promise that He will never break about the fast. So fast with the greatest of hope and never let that hope diminish, not from one day to another. Fasting is only metaphorically called an act. In Arabic, the word amal, act, refers linguistically to a performance. An amal is something you do. It's something that people can see. You stand in prayer, you bow, you make prostration, you face the qibla, you pay money in zakat or in charity, you put on the ihram when you go to pilgrimage, you go around the Kaaba and so forth. But in fasting, the nature of this act is that we don't do certain acts. We don't eat, we don't drink, we refrain from appetites that are perfectly legitimate and even desirable at other times, but not during the fast. So therefore, at the time of this metaphorical act of not acting, you want to also fill your life with beautiful performances. This is the month when all of the good deeds you do will be multiplied many times. So you want to give in charity. You want to help other people. You want to visit the sick. You want to help the orphan and the widow, help the refugee. Do every type of good that you can do. As the Prophet taught us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, every voluntary act of good that you do in this month will have the reward of an obligatory act that you do in another month. And obligatory acts always have the greatest rewards. And every obligatory act that you do in this month will have the reward of 70 obligatory acts done in another time. God tells us in the Quran, and this is one of the last verses that was revealed to the Blessed Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا مما رزقناكم من قبل أن يأتي يوم لا بيع فيه ولا خلة ولا شفاعة والكافرون هم الظالمون. O you who believe, spend, and anfiqu means spend generously, give copiously from that provision that we have given you. And provision is not just money. Provision is not just food. Provision is from your intellect, from your wisdom, from the goodness of your heart. All sorts of things that you can do, that you can imagine. Spend freely of these before a day comes when there will be no exchange. You won't be able to give anything for anything else. And when there will be no intimate friendship anymore. And when there will be no intercession except by the will of God. On this day, you will desperately need the good that you have done. So do that copiously in this beautiful month. And do not be deluded from that mission. And the verse says, and the godless, they are the ones who are truly the oppressors, because they put things in the wrong place. They do things in the wrong way. They do things at the wrong time. That's what dhulm means in Arabic. So you get it right. You do things the right way, the right time in this blessed month. And pray for this wonderful ummah and pray for humanity. Wassalamu alaikum.